Hello, YouTube.
Hi,
It's opening
YouTube.
weekend. It's real opening weekend. That's my phone. Enjoy, like, subscribe, enjoy, comment, do the things. Jack, tell them something.
Comment your upset of the week.
Yes, do
Depends
that.
on what you define as upset. We have that argument too.
So dumb.
Enjoy.
the show.
Hey, Brandon.
I'm not in the mood to even mess with y'all before we start the show. I'm in a football mood. I don't even want y'all to talk.
Well, that's because you don't want us to out you about how much of a shit show you currently are right now. But you know what? We can keep it moving
I look amazing.
on your whatever. We don't have to tell the people what dramatic thing just happened. Let's just talk about football.
Okay, I left my laptop at the Chicago office, and it's an hour and a half away. I don't have time to go get it. So I went to Walmart and bought a backup computer for $400, and it looks like shit. So I'm on my phone now, and I wasted $400.
Well, you should take the laptop back, but it was just in pure Brandon Walker unnecessary roughness form that earlier today I said, hey, we've got to keep this high and tight. I'm flying to Chicago for the first college football show tonight. I had a high noon commercial this morning, and we have to keep it high and tight. And 10 minutes before we record, you're like, can we just do this tomorrow? Like, no, we can't. We're doing it right now.
I feel like we could have done it tomorrow, but that's fine.
Well,
that's
everybody,
fine.
But the other people around already had this all planned. Everybody has things
I
to do in
don't
the
care
morning.
about the other people. I only care about Brandon Walker.
Well, at least you admit it. First step is admitting it.
What did Rico say on the case raise?
Something probably really fucking selfish, and he's an asshole.
Oh.
Brandon Walker, Brani. Oh,
you skipped the D?
Whatever.
Jack, you look depressed to be here, as always.
What?
This is just you talk and then you got interrupted and then it's you didn't talk. We just
It's
All
never
right,
the
that's
right
Jack.
way.
Anyway, so here we go. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Hello. It's Unnecessary Roughness, and college football happens tomorrow or tonight, whenever you're listening to this. So, yay. We're talking college football today. It is week 1. I'm Brandon Walker. That's Casey Smith. That's Katie Stantz. That's Jack Mack. That's Noah. Casey, one of y'all tell them.
Katie, you'll be very proud of me. I've officially learned it is the game day pack, not
day pack.
It is not the tailgate pack. So we shot a commercial this morning for the new high noon game day pack, which is coming out soon. Of course, in front of us, we have the pool pack. I don't know exactly when the pool pack is no longer available because it is limited edition, but this is the last weekend of summer. Regardless of what you think, I personally think summer's already over, but Labor Day is the end of summer. So the pool pack is on its way out, the lime, guava, kiwi, peach. But I got to tell you, I got so excited about the game day pack because the flavors in it, which I'm not even allowed to like post Instagram stories from the shoot today. So I guess it's like a secret, but it's a really good pack. It's a very good pack.
When the new pack drops, that's what we're always excited for.
Dropping.
New pack is dropped.
So tailgating this week, all the flavors of High Noon. Go to Drizly, go to your liquor store, convenience store, highnoonsunsips.com. Doesn't really matter which pack you get. You could get the original pack. You get the variety pack. You could just go and get just the lemon pack. Get it for your tailgates or if you're watching it at home. High Noon, High Noon, High Noon. Brandon.
Yeah.
Come on back. It's week 1 of college football. It's here, buddy. It is here.
I bet there's going to be a lot of that particular drink flowing next week when we go on our first trip for the college football show. I'm not going to say where it is, just like Dave's not going to say where it is, but you're a real Tuscaloosa if you don't show up.
I mean, it's just such a very obvious Dave tweet, but the amount of people that in the comments that still don't understand that, where they were like, oh, well, obviously you're going to Alabama. It's like, yeah, no shit. He put up an Alabama shirt.
Yeah.
But
he put up a crimson elephant.
It is, it's funny to see a bunch of people trying to like be like, well, you said you were going to be at Colorado for Nebraska. And he just straight up was like, Colorado told us not to come. Like this new version of Dave, or I guess it's not new, a revamped version of Dave where he's just going to say whatever he wants. It's hilarious because Colorado just simply didn't want us to be there for the Nebraska game in week 2. So he said, fuck it. And now we're going to the game I wanted to go to, which is Texas at Alabama. That is going to be awesome. A night game in Tuscaloosa. Beautiful.
Well, now you just out and out said it. I wasn't going to say it. I mean, it's a secret. That's what we do around here. We keep secrets.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it. So, spoiler alert: if you're not into those, turn off the podcast. The Barstool College Football Show will be in Tuscaloosa, week 2 against the Texas.
Man,
Longhorns.
I don't think there's anything in America that shows how soft we've become as a society than grown men complaining about spoiler alerts online. Have you seen? You know what? That's
yes.
another conversation for another day. Our grandfathers fought in wars, and we're talking about spoiling trivia shows. Whatever.
Oh, I'm not even talking about the trivia stuff. I mean, the amount of people that are mad when you post about TV shows like days and days later. It's like, all right, guys, come on. But if you are mad about spoiler alerts, then be very angry that we are going to be at the University of Alabama versus the University of Texas. Week 2 of college
All right,
football.
very quickly before we get started, 10-word answers, 10 words or less. I'm going to go around the room. Jack, UConn starts the season against NC State. How you feeling?
Really good. Excited.
Casey, Texas A&M starts with a nobody because they're cowards. How do you feel?
I'm feeling really great to get the first game under our belt. It's our season.
Katie, you've got the toughest game here, North Carolina, South Carolina, prime time. What do you think?
Dreading it with every bone in my body.
Okay. And I have the game of the week, Mississippi State hosting mighty Southeastern Louisiana, one of the greatest programs in the history of college football.
Cowards.
And if Mississippi State goes anything less than 12-0, I will be shocked.
Yeah, no. 12-0, 100%.
They're going to win the SEC.
I think you did more than 10 words there, so you feel that your own.
He did.
I get to fail at whatever. I do think UConn's going to give NC State fits.
No, it's the biggest, I would say, game for UConn football in a long, long time. It's going to have the most fans they've had since they played Michigan in, I think, 2013.
How many tickets are you giving away?
I only gave away 6, but I gave it to like 2 families. But then it started kind of a movement on UConn Twitter to give them away. But there's 7,000 students that are going. It's the most student tickets ever given out for a UConn football game. It's really exciting. I mean, the downside there is if they get blown out, it's really the balloon could pop.
And nobody will
What
want
are
to
the
go.
chances you're like getting on the ground floor of a Nebraska thing and like UConn's going to sell out the next 500 games and you started it?
No, I don't think. I mean, I've been on the ground floor of UConn football for a few years now.
Well, that's because UConn football is on
But
the
you got to
ground
stay
floor.
there.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like if you want to talk about someone who's like maintained his equity in a program and not given up, I've never given up on UConn football, even during the dark ages. Hopefully, it's a good season. It's supposed to be a good one. Now, I mean, a good one for UConn's making a bowl game, but that's still fun. We have a lot of fans that listen to the show that it's not national championship or bust.
Yeah, I think that you just stay on the ground floor of UConn until you no longer are on the ground floor. That's the way you do it.
Yeah, hopefully. And I wanted to go, but it's the first week of college football. Everyone knows here. It's too difficult to get down there.
Yeah,
for that.
we just had a whole conversation in this office, Brandon, about how people are taking off Friday for Labor Day. And that's fine. I mean, if you don't cover football, it's fine. But it's just like, I don't even think Labor Day is a holiday anymore if you cover college football. Like, why would it be?
Well, Labor Day is still... Labor Day is an extra weekend for college football, extra weekend day because we get a game on Labor Day. So
Yes,
it's like,
but we can't
basically it's not. I'll say it how you mean it. I think it's no longer a work holiday; it's a college football holiday. It's like
yes.
We got 5 days of football starting Thursday night.
Yeah, no, this weekend's the busiest one of the year for college football because it feels like it never stops, which is great because we haven't had it for so long. But yeah, and on Sunday we have a day game, even though it's potentially
we have multiple day games Sunday, right? We have Rutgers,
Northwestern,
which is Oregon State, San Jose, and then we got, of course, the nightcap, which is probably the biggest game of the week.
Easily the biggest game of the week,
and it's spaced out.
Rutgers Northwestern is a special game.
You should go to that, Jack.
I should go to that and say hi. I actually have gotten into it. I made a TikTok video about a Rutgers couple. It was like a green line test one. And then they made a response. Yeah. And now I'm being called an incel. It's the first win Rutgers has gotten over me in a while.
But wasn't her response, like the person in it, like she was like loving the joke on it? Yeah, no,
she was in on it. But then on Reddit, it got posted and on our TikTok cringe, which I guess I've been told isn't just TikTok cringe, it's just TikTok videos. But the couple that I made fun of made a joke about it. Rutgers, first win Rutgers has had over me in a little bit. But it was all fun and games. But yeah, I'm an incel influencer in case you guys haven't heard.
Of course.
That's not a bad nickname for yourself. Just Jack Mack, the incel influencer.
Also,
no, I mean, I think I have some better nicknames, but yeah, it's I at
You're
least
still
they're
an
calling
influencer.
me. Yeah, they said I'm influencing.
you are influencing. That
I
is a
set
fact.
a record.
Okay, I got to ask a question. What are your other nicknames, Jack?
I have multiple ones. I mean, like journalisming is like top of the top. I guess I don't have any other ones. Jack Mack, I guess, is the only nickname.
That one's the best one, obviously. I have something
I'm
to
not
say.
going to be known as the incel influencer.
No, but
I
just
did
the
set the
influencer.
record for most female followers of an incel influencer.
Hell yeah.
Well, you
I
know-
may have them.
Hold
I'll
on.
end up. I may have the most female influencers on this or female followers on this podcast.
That is absolutely a fact if you're
Yeah.
looking at mine.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
question.
And
I
then
mean, mine's
Brandon's-
93% men
And
on all platforms.
Mine's 50%.
That's
Livy
impressive.
Dunn follows you too. Never forget.
And Alex Earl, don't forget about that.
That counts for
Um,
like 50% on its own.
Yes.
I feel.
Yeah.
I have
I'm
something.
concerned about Livy Dunn.
Oh God.
Her photoshopping?
No, but Paul Skeens and her don't fit together. He's too
Oh,
big.
oh.
Brandon. No.
No, I'm
don't.
not saying that way. I'm just saying that they don't fit together.
He I
It's
mean,
week one of college football.
also she's
Brandon.
20.
Get your mind in.
She's what? She's 21. She's a senior in college. I mean, who dates the person from? Yeah, she'll be coming to Jack Mack before you know it.
Yeah, he's the end game.
Kidding. We're actually great friends.
The incel influencer is the end game. I have something to say about week one. I'm not happy about it, but I have something to say.
Yep.
As anybody who follows and loves college football knows, week one is the best thing ever for the entire offseason. You cannot wait. You have games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday on the holiday. Phenomenal. I will never complain about that. However, this week one slate feels a lot weaker than it has in the past. Now, I know we have Florida State LSU on Sunday, which is obviously a massive matchup. We've got a couple of games that have some pop to it. But I feel like in the past, and maybe it's just revisionist history, that week one had better games.
No, you're not making that up because it's not like it feels like it's worse. It's objectively worse.
Okay.
There's one ranked versus ranked matchup this weekend. That's the lowest total in the last 30 years.
It's just
There's usually at least 2 or 3 ranked versus ranked matchups, and now the closest we got outside, I guess, North Carolina, South Carolina. Like South Carolina's almost ranked, and they play North Carolina. But outside of LSU and Florida State, I mean, look at the big halves in this country, right? Like Alabama's playing to nobody, Michigan's playing to nobody, Georgia's playing to nobody, Ohio State's playing to nobody. Like, they're playing a conference nobody, so you got to give them credit for that. But like the top 10 usually is what carries this week when we have Georgia, Clemson, or we have Georgia, Oregon, or we have Alabama, Texas, or whatever we have. And they're not really pulling their weight this year.
No, it's very bizarre. Like, I was sitting down to look at the schedule, not just for this show, but also for the college football show, to pick out the games we were going to play or talk about. And I struggled to find 5 games that were worthy of sitting down to talk about. Now, obviously, every single game we're going to talk about, every single game we're going to watch, even Northwestern Rutgers, we're going to be excited about. But as far as like marquee games that we've seen, and like we talk about Bo Nix a lot at Oregon, but a few years ago, Bo Nix had his legendary moment in week one that everybody was watching when he was at Auburn. And I just, other than that Sunday game, I just don't see a lot of that. And it's kind of shitty.
No. I'm completely fine with it. I don't want to.
No, I'm fine with it. Don't get me wrong.
Well, week 2 is loaded.
But like, I'd rather not blow my load week 1. Like, I think I'm gonna be excited for week 1,
Regardless.
my week 1 load, no matter what. And then week 2,
We're talking about your load.
I was just.
He's trying to prove he's not an incel, okay?
Like, let's remember, like, I love women and having sex, but the week 1 we're gonna be excited no matter what. And there's like some of the games, like, even though they're not great, it's still like, oh, I'm in no matter what. We were watching UMass New Mexico State like last week. We're in no matter what. Then week 2,
Definitely.
I'd rather save some great non-conference games like week 2, week 3, and there's a lot of excitement and football's officially back for everybody.
Because the NFL
Week 2.
Let me say this. There are a lot of games this week that could have been good on paper that just kind of missed because one of the teams is down. Like Penn State, West Virginia is a heck of an opener to schedule. West Virginia is just a little down, right? There's a lot of games like that just barely miss. Like Florida, Utah, which is probably going to be pretty good, to be honest, now that Cam Rising is out. But Florida, Utah, in any random year could be a top 10 matchup. It just doesn't happen to be one this year.
And that's just based on the fact that we don't know what Graham Mertz in Florida is going to look like. But you're right. I mean, this is why I preface this take. Like, I am not going to complain. And I'm sure,
no. I think it's a fair.
Once we hit tomorrow and once kickoff happens, I won't think twice about it. But it is a weird feeling when you sit down and you're just like when you look at the Saturday slate, and I know we'll do what we do where we look from, the beginning of the day all the way through the end of the day. That middle of the day slate is.
Yeah. No, the 3 o'clock isn't great.
It is not great. Now, there's plenty of games, but there's just nothing there that makes you just want to like jump off the couch.
I think there's a chance.
Go ahead.
Katie.
That we leave the day with more questions than we entered. So like everyone right now with Notre Dame, they're saying, okay, they look great, X, Y, Z, but how bad is Navy? Like we're going to see Wisconsin, we're going to see Texas, we're going to see a bunch of teams we have questions about. But because they're playing middle of the pack teams, we're not going to know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not going to be barometers. Like, okay, cool. Quinn Ewers look great. Like, in the same way with USC, it's like, okay, San Jose State scored 28. What is San Jose State rank? So I think we're going to be able to, it's going to be a lot to talk about. We're not really going to know a lot, but I think it's going to be great opportunity to just like, to start, I feel so HR, like start dialogue. But it's like, there's going to be so many questions. I know.
Brandon, did you see?
Good point, Erica. Okay.
Did you see the how people are like freaking out about Nick Saban's press conference about how he won't name a starting quarterback and he said something along the lines of like
he's not gonna, so quit asking.
Good callback there. He said something along the lines of like, well, I know you guys don't care about the actual game. You care more about the depth chart than the actual game. But here, and whatever the actual quote was, which he does have a point because who actually cares about Alabama playing Middle Tennessee? But the bigger thing is who's going to be starting quarterback in week 2 against Texas. But it's also like, just watch the game. But he just had that very subtle thing of like, well, you guys don't even care. Well, who the fuck would we care about playing Middle Tennessee?
I do think in the case of Saban, this doesn't feel to me like he's hiding his starter for week 2. I feel like he's going to give all 3 a shot in week 1 and see who plays the best.
Yeah, but there's also the element too of like he mentioned how like it's like the competition is lessened if he names it. Like those guys very clearly know who the leader of that pack is because they're going out with the first team. I mean, like there's no question. Like somebody knows that they're the starter as of right now. Now that could very easily change in an actual game. But him doing that whole, like, you guys only care about the depth chart. Well, yeah, Nick, like, we don't care about you playing Middle Tennessee. We care about you playing Texas in week 2 and who's going to start at quarterback.
I think somebody knows he's going to start on this Saturday, but I don't think that somebody knows he's going to start the other 11 games.
That's fair. That's very fair.
All right. I want to do a little exercise before we get into the actual week's games and stuff like that. But I just want to go through the top 10, the top 15, the top 20. Very quick. You're just going to tell me yes or no.
Okay.
I'm going to say, can this team make the playoff? Okay.
Okay. Do we just all say it at the same time?
You can go Jack, Casey, Katie, and Ren in quick order. Okay. So we'll start at the top. Easy. Georgia.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Alabama.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Brandon, you should say yes too.
Ohio State and Michigan.
Yes.
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 All yeses so far, right? LSU.
Yes.
Can they? Yes.
Yes. Can they?
Can they? Yes.
Yeah, they can.
This is can they?
Of
Yeah,
course.
we're not playing
Yes.
will they.
Okay. Yes.
We're not playing will they. We're
Okay.
playing can they right now.
Yes.
So we're trying to find where the line is.
Okay.
Of how many playoff contenders we feel like we truly have.
Okay.
Penn State.
Yes.
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 Yes. Florida State.
Yes.
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 Clemson. Yes.
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 Texas.
Yes.
Yes.
Skip Washington.
I haven't skipped anybody. I'm not going in that order. I'm just going off the top of my mind.
Sorry.
Okay.
USC.
Yes.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
No. I'm gonna say
Oklahoma.
no.
Oh, you're going to say no to Washington. Why?
I just don't see it.
I do see it, and that's fine. I'm glad somebody finally said a no. Oregon.
Yes.
Yes.
But just real quick, Jack, back to Washington.
We've already talked about Oregon and Washington.
No, that's fine. But it is can they, not will they. So you don't even think they could.
Yeah, yeah. Can they? Of course, but for the sake of this
Okay.
That's where
exercise,
he
I'm
draws the
saying
line.
no.
He's drawing the line
Yeah.
at Washington. Okay.
All right. Oklahoma.
Yes.
No,
Strong no.
they're not a playoff team. No.
No.
I think it's a very low, but I think they can. I mean, if they win the Big 12, then they can.
There's like a 5% chance, best case.
Trying to find the bar here. Notre Dame.
Yes.
Yes.
Tennessee.
Yes.
No.
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 I kind of say yes too. I let me tell you why. I don't think they will. I don't think they're that good. But we've chalked that Georgia game up in Knoxville as just an automatic loss for Tennessee. If they were to fuck around and win that, they're good enough to beat the rest of the teams in the East. Like,
I think
if Joe Milton is what they hope he is, then I think the answer might be yes.
If Joe Milton is the answer, absolutely. However, if I'm picking Georgia to win the national championship and I'm obviously picking Georgia to win the SEC, then I'm going to say no to Tennessee, because the only reason they were in the conversation last year to get in is because everywhere around the country was becoming a shit show. I don't believe that's going to happen this year. I don't believe you're going to have a team like Tennessee backdoor their way into those 4 spots.
Even best case scenario?
You know, you're talking about the very end when they backdoored, but I think they were in the playoff conversation for most of the
Yes, until they played Georgia, and it was just an absolute abysmal display of offense, which we had not seen from him.
But if they beat South Carolina and they finish the season 11-1 with a win over,
it's an interesting conversation.
They would have had a very interesting conversation with Ohio State over them
last year. Yes, I'm saying this year I don't see, like, the reason that they were going to get in was because everything else around the country wasn't making a strong statement. Like, that would be, if I think yes this year, I think that they would lose to Georgia and then be sitting there and watching the ACC crumble, the Big 12 crumble, and the Pac-12 crumble, and potentially have an open spot for another SEC team that loses the SEC championship wouldn't have, and I don't see that happening.
Can Wisconsin make the playoffs?
No. Well, yes, because if they win the Big Ten championship, they'll be in, but I don't think they do that.
I think it's too much rebuilding.
So I think it's no, in the sense that even if they go 11-1, I don't think they'll be good enough to beat whoever survives the Big Ten East Gauntlet.
And they play Ohio State, so even if they go into the Big Ten championship, like say they play Penn State or play Michigan, and they play them closely and lose, they still have already lost to the Big Ten East team. Like that, I think they'd have to beat Ohio State in the regular season twice, or beat them and then beat Michigan or Penn State.
Yeah, and then what if they lost to Ohio State and then beat Penn State?
Then they'd be in.
You think Wisconsin would be in
if they win the Big Ten championship?
With how many losses?
No. What if they? Oh, never mind. Yeah, you're right.
Well, let me ask you like this. How many teams in this country do you believe can legitimately say they have a chance to win the national championship this year? Is it 5? Is it 6? Is it 7?
6 or 7.
Yeah, between that.
I think it's higher this year than it's been in recent years.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I think this is the highest it's been in a while, which is really fun. But that has to do with the quarterback position, which is a storyline that this season that quarterbacks are always it, but there's more. This is the biggest quarterback storyline season we've had in a while. Maybe because
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Because if we are in the midst of it in 4 weeks and every quarterback question solved, then it's whatever. But in 4 weeks, do you think we'll know what Drew Aller is? Do you think we'll know what Carson Beck is? Do you think we'll know what Alabama? I mean, I guess they do have that game against Texas, which will
that one's the most interesting, not just because it's obviously interesting on paper, but if Texas loses to Alabama, they're not out of the playoff conversation in my mind. If Alabama loses to Texas, they're not out of the playoff conversation. So that game that'll answer who's going to be the starting quarterback for Alabama, and we'll see exactly how close those teams are. But you still can't take either one of those teams out of the race.
My teams that can win the national title, Georgia.
Well, before you say that, I like that list. Before you say that, let me make the point up to your last point. I think the quarterback situations at national title contenders across the board the quarterback situations are what make this wide open, right?
Yep.
I don't know how many quarterbacks, if you look at true national title contenders, Georgia, they hope Carson Beck is great. Alabama hopes their guy is great. Ohio State hopes Kyle McCord is great. Michigan probably needs J.J. McCarthy to take a little step forward in the playoff games to win the actual 100%. National title. Penn State, they hope Drew Aller is great. Like, there's nobody in that top tier that comes into this season outside of USC, but USC has such a bad defense that, you can almost put them aside. Like, nobody really in that top tier can look at you in the eye right now and swear they know exactly what they're getting.
I think Texas can.
I think Texas.
I don't know that Texas can either, Jack, because as good as he was, I'm sorry, I just don't know how to turn that off. As good as he was against Alabama last year and got hurt, he wasn't that good coming down the stretch. Like, he's got to answer some questions too.
That's fair. I would say Texas is probably second on that list of confidence within the quarterback.
I mean, and then you have, I know that Cade Klubnik didn't play well in the bowl game, but they're very confident with him at Clemson too.
Well,
Clemson.
I would say I also would probably throw Florida State in there. Like they
Jordan
like
Travis,
they like their guy a lot. They know their guy is
okay.
the guy.
I mean, I'm not going to say North Carolina is in that conversation for the national title, but obviously they're very secure with Drake May.
But he's
they're
not a national title team.
No,
Not with that
that's
defense.
That's so. I'm writing my list of. So the list would be of who actually can win a national title this year.
Yep.
Yeah, Jack, hit your list.
All right. I am just double checking so I don't miss any. We are gonna roll with Georgia, Alabama,
That's two.
Michigan, Ohio State, Clemson, Texas, Notre Dame, Penn State, USC, and then I think LSU can win a national championship. And I mean, I hate that I'm saying this, but I do think Texas A&M can win a national championship this year.
Okay, so that's 11 for you. I would take A&M. Well, I do like them. I would put Florida State in and take USC out.
I just got a little weepy there.
Florida State's. I would probably put Florida State in there. They don't fulfill the blue chip ratio that is. It's half of their scholarship players being 4 or 5 stars. They're probably at 48% though, and Jared Verse was not a 4 or 5 star, but he is one of the best defensive ends in the country. He didn't get recruited as well, and he was at Albany. Now he's one of the best. He'll be a first round draft pick.
Jared Verse. That was.
Is it Verse or is it Verse?
I think it's Verse. Jared Verse. Harold Perkins, that defense. I mean, I know they're not but that'll be that's a great storyline too. Okay, I have 12. I thought I had less, but I have 12. It's Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, USC, Texas, Clemson, Notre Dame, LSU, and USC.
So I have, I guess, 10 then, because I take LSU and USC out. I think the schedule's too tough for LSU. I think the quarterback's too inconsistent, and the defense just has to come so far for USC, and we certainly haven't seen so far that it has done that. So, but I would say if I'm at 10, and Katie, I'm anxious to see your number. Are you counting yours now?
Yeah, loosely.
The issue that I get
with the number of 10 that I've got right now is higher than it's been in the last 5 or 6 years.
I know for me 12 for sure is. I think that the issue, I start to nitpick my own list. It's I have Texas in there because I think Texas can make the college football playoff, but do I think Texas can go in and beat Georgia? Well, no, but I still am putting them on that list. I think that's where you start to really get into the nitty gritty of it.
Georgia is also an interesting team to be at the top of this poll because, to be honest, there's enough questions on Georgia to where you can poke holes in them being a slam dunk three-peat champion, right? The problem with that is when you say new quarterback, new this, some changes on defense. When you say these things, you would have to weigh it against the fact that last year they had more questions than this, and they rolled the fucking tape. So, did they buy themselves the benefit of the doubt by dominating so thoroughly last year when they had more questions?
Yes.
But they have a lot of injuries coming into the year.
It keeps going back to that schedule is so easy.
So that's the biggest thing. They have a lot of injuries right now, but the Tennessee game isn't until their first real losable game's South Carolina, I think week 4.
And that depends on which South Carolina shows up. I know I'm the only one that picked them to win the national title, and the odds of that actually happening are very low because it would be 3 in a row, but you can't any questions that they may have, including at quarterback, if there's nothing on that schedule that jumps out early, it's a new quarterback, they could really struggle in this. That schedule is a cakewalk for a team that talented.
Okay, so now another question here. Does anybody have a team that they were either really high on all offseason or really low on that they're kind of changing here at the finish line? Because I got one. I'm starting to wonder if the Florida Gators are going to be better than I was giving them credit for. Graham Mertz probably doesn't have to be great, and I think they're catching a huge break, and now they have a winnable game at Utah. If they beat Utah, all of a sudden in week 3, they're at home against Tennessee. The Swamp's going to be crazy. They're going to have good running backs. Go ahead.
Could we get your list, Katie?
Yeah, no, my list, it's Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, LSU, Florida State, Clemson, Texas. I think 8.
So,
So you have a shorter
I was a little
list?
more selective of like people who I feel like it's more like, can I see myself tweeting this out?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
backing
Who'd you
it
leave
up?
out?
What?
Who'd you leave out?
No, sorry. No
Say your list
Texas
again.
A&M. No, yours USC. It's Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Bama, LSU, FSU, Clemson, Texas.
So she left out Notre Dame,
USC.
Yeah.
USC,
No Penn State.
no Penn State, no Oregon.
Penn State, I think I can do that, but it's
No
like
Washington.
No, yeah.
when I like scrambled with the list, I was like, can I see myself tweeting it out and backing it up? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't have the argument for Penn State. They're in my they're 100% possible. I think that's like a 0.2%.
I didn't put Penn State
Yeah,
in mine either, but like my example would be Oregon. Like, do I really actually believe that? No, but I could make the argument. So she was just more selective
Yeah.
because of who she would.
Florida's a team that really does fit the I also think, like, I mean, it would be really shocking, but I mean, Miami could really take a step forward too.
I think so too.
These two teams, like Florida and Miami, fit the blue chip ratio. They
Yeah.
also and Graham Mertz. I mean, it will really come down to Graham Mertz. It will really come down to Tyler Van Dyke. But both those defenses should be pretty good, and they have guys on offense that are. The only thing with Florida is a lot of their players are young,
Yeah.
and
I truly believe that Texas A&M Miami matchup in week 2 is an unranked matchup right now. I believe the winner of that could be in the top 10 by the end of September.
yeah, and could be like we're talking about them in a very, very high way. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking high places, and I mean, I'm for the podcast sake, I'm cheering for Texas A&M, but I think Miami, I mean, would be great for college football. That being said, I was very low on Florida State, but I'm coming around. I think they may be the team that really is the first team to buck the trend of like having less than 50% 4 or 5 stars on your team. They have 41%, which is like no one's even come close. Now, but they do have a Heisman level quarterback. They do have some great transfers. We'll see, but I probably give too little credit to Florida State.
Mine is Oklahoma, and
No,
I know.
no.
Listen, now I'm not convinced that they're going to be great, but I was incredibly low on Oklahoma. But I think we talked about it at some point when we did like disrespected teams. They had a horrible year, and Brent Venables did not get the job done. We obviously know that going 6-7, you cannot do. Dylan Gabriel is not a bad quarterback. We know that. We know, as Jack, you've gone to war with many people on this, they have a loaded roster.
They do.
The biggest thing as well is the Big 12 outside of Texas, and I know Kansas State is there and Will Howard is good, but the Big 12 is not near as competitive this year as it has been in years past that we've seen so far on paper. And if Oklahoma can take the next step and they can just, like all the mistakes that they made last year outside of that game against Texas where it was just an absolute boat racing and there were injuries, they lost a lot of close games. If he can come in and fix that defense and Dylan Gabriel can stay healthy and play all season, Oklahoma can make a case in the Big 12. Do I think they're going to be in the playoff? No, but I think that we've really discarded them way too quickly. That's a way too talented roster with a veteran quarterback and a proven defensive guy at head coach to say they're going to be horrible without having it play out.
You know, you say proven defensive guy, but his first year as head coach there, they had one of the worst defenses in the Big 12.
I'm throwing that. I'm saying that I think that last year now it could potentially be just the way he is as a head coach. I don't know. But all offseason, I'm like, Oklahoma, like, please. The closer we get to the season and the closer you really take a look at the Big 12, I believe Texas will be there. I believe TCU is not going to be that bad. Kansas State will be there as well. It's pretty wide open outside of, like, if Quinn Ewers has a couple bad games and they drop one or two.
They do have to play Texas, UCF, and TCU. They have to play Kansas away, which isn't easy. They have to play Oklahoma State away. Those are all those are losable games.
I'm not saying they're going to be great. The question was, is there somebody that I'm cooling off on or heating up on as we get into? I am definitely feeling better about Oklahoma being better this year than I have for the last few months. Katie?
I'm starting to cool down on Florida State. I still believe in the same team. I think it's just worrying me how much other people are talking about it. Because when people get excited, is a lot of it Des Howard with his list? Maybe. But I think it's like, I was excited. It's like, all right, no one else talking Florida State. I believed in it. And now too many people are coming around. It's like how we all had Texas winning the Big 12. It's like, all right,
It's
sorry,
Clemson's
Texas.
conference.
I'm scarred by Clemson. I will always give them the benefit of the doubt. But with the Florida comment, who do you think is going to be this year's like Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix? People who are kind
I
of
think Graham Mertz
off.
is a remarkable candidate for that job.
Question.
Listen, everybody's shitting on Graham Mertz. We're laughing at Graham Mertz. Well, everybody shit on Michael Penix. Everybody shit on Bo Nix. Like, he fits the profile to a T. He's not going in there, and he's not going to have to reinvent the wheel. They got like good running backs and good receivers. Again, they got a break where they're going to play a team without their quarterback on Thursday night. I think if Graham Mertz goes out and throws for 2,800 yards and 25 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, that's a hell of a year for him. And I don't think that's all that much to ask for.
It's not crazy.
I would say, I'm just looking at some quarterbacks names. I think, would it be crazy to say Peyton Thorne has an unbelievable year for Auburn?
No.
And would it be crazy to say Phil Jerkovich at Pitt?
If he stays healthy.
Hold on. He asked a question. I was telling Tommy to turn his iPad down. I'm sorry, but yes, I do think it would be crazy to say Peyton Thorne has an unbelievable year at all.
Okay, all right, okay, that's good.
What about Peyton Thorne has a good year at Auburn?
I don't. That division is so fucking tight, and he's going to be playing a good team every week, and then he plays Jordan. Like, I don't see it. Like, Hugh Freeze is a good quarterback coach, but Peyton Thorne was just a guy at Michigan State. So I don't see it. I've never seen we had seen glimpses of Bo Nix. We had seen glimpses of Michael Penix when they went like at 7-1. We've never seen a glimpse of Peyton Thorne, really.
I have one that we don't even know what the starting situation is, and I'm not saying he was bad at Oklahoma State, but could Spencer Sanders go into Ole Miss and have that like level up there as their quarterback? I could see that.
I guess I could, but Lane. I don't think Lane's named Jackson Dart the starter yet.
No, that's all pending.
But that's
who's
just
going to
like,
be a quarter, who's going to start.
Lane loves being getting asked questions from the media. He's like a girl that just like breaks up with her boyfriend and is not over her ex, but she just has like 25 dudes just hitting her up all day, so she feels wanted, but she's still in love with her ex. It's like
what a comparison. So you're basically saying that Lane Kiffin likes to throw up thirst traps so that he can get the attention that he's desperately asking for.
That's very true. Remember a couple of weeks ago when he
I wasn't being literal, but I think now we know that Spencer Sanders, he had, really good stats a lot of years at Oklahoma State, and we were very high on him on this podcast a lot. I think that if he becomes a starter at Ole Miss, he could level up, but he's not the example of Michael Penix or Bo Nix because he had success.
DJ.
Yeah. I'll say, DJ's going. I'll say this about Spencer Sanders, as a rival of that team, and as somebody who's seen Jackson Dart, who is in his true junior season, and frankly is on a good path to become a good quarterback. I would much rather see Spencer Sanders across from my team than Jackson Dart.
The Spencer Sanders that you saw at Oklahoma State, though.
Yeah, but like he's had 4 years to level up and never has done it. And I know he's going to Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's a great quarterback coach. You know who else is a great quarterback coach? Mike Gundy. And he couldn't do it there. So Jackson Dart would scare me more than Spencer Sanders. That's what I'm saying.
That's why every time we talk about Ole Miss, I know obviously I love Mississippi State more because I'm a good podcast co-host. But Ole Miss and their quarterback situation is incredibly intriguing because of what you just said. Like Spencer Sanders, no, they didn't win anything at Oklahoma State, but he was a really good quarterback for Oklahoma State. And you have Jackson Dart, who put up great numbers. The quarterback room, I said it on many podcasts, so I'm repeating myself. Quarterback room there is stacked.
I don't care about the quarterback room, though, to be honest.
But think about it.
I don't care about the quarterback.
I do, because if Jackson Dart sucks in the game, then you have a guy behind him that's like last year for Alabama when Milroe had to come in against A&M, and that A&M team was garbage, and they almost lost because Jalen Milroe was at quarterback. You don't have that issue at Ole Miss.
You may though. He would Spencer Sanders start over Jalen Milroe at Alabama?
If we saw, Spencer Sanders has played a better college career thus far than Jalen Milroe.
I think if he would, he'd be there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
but you know what doesn't suck? You know what doesn't suck?
Ooh.
Game Time, the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports.
We're back, baby.
That's right. Created by fans for fans, Game Time is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. Have you guys used Game Time recently?
Not recently, but I can't wait for the college football season and then the NBA season to come back around, because Game Time got me into some Rangers games last year and some NBA games in the Garden that were just phenomenal, and you get them late, and I can't wait.
I have not personally used it, but I know a lot of people who have been using it to get into concerts. At
I
Madison
was going to
Square
bring
Garden.
up concert. There's so many must-see events going on all around the country right now.
Never forget they sent me to Justin Bieber.
Yes,
Never
Justin
forget.
Bieber. I mean, obviously, there's some concerts going on right now that are crazy, and Game Time has you covered there. Everything is possible with the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app today, or go to their website, enter your email, and redeem code
Rough.
for $20.
I was trying to cheat. I was trying to pull up the ad read while
for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply.
The cool thing about Game Time is, Brandon mentioned it too, it's like a lot of these ticketing apps, companies, whatever, like the closer you get to the event, they start to like jack up prices. Game Time, you can get it like walking into the game and you're going to get the lowest price. Like that's what's
they
incredible.
jack them down.
That was weird. Your face when you said that was so weird.
Jack them down.
So speaking of, before we get into this, I actually, I don't know, Jack, I'm sure you saw it, or Katie, whoever. Brandon also has the unnecessary roughness password, so who knows? But there was a guy that was talking about how it's weird how our YouTube views are always lower in comparison. And I said, hey, we are one of those rare podcasts that actually has infinitely.
Wait, what is he talking about? Our YouTube views are actually really good.
Like he was saying that he thought that as big as a podcast we are, that our YouTube views would be a lot higher. And he was being complimentary. He was saying, I don't understand why.
We do have a lot of listeners, but like the YouTube views are like really good. Like, I mean, there's not a lot of podcasts out there that get 15 to 20,000 views every podcast episode in the off season of college football.
That he was being complimentary, but I was like, we are one of those podcasts that actually has more downloads and audio listeners, but the YouTube has gotten so much better over the last couple of years. And I just wanted to say thank you to Noah, Jack, and Katie for that, because when you look back a couple years ago, we didn't have it, right? Like, when did we start our YouTube channel?
That was a good save by you. Like, to not say it was so shitty when Jack.
No, it wasn't.
No,
I don't mean that. The way that it's grown the last couple of years.
No, you're 100%. We used to. I still remember. I'm not going to bring up the fucking bitch that was mad at me for putting it on YouTube. Who is there's one person that I ran into at Barstool who doesn't work here anymore that I despise. And she was like, oh, weren't you going to run it by us before you put it up on YouTube? And then I was like, no, I would rather ask for forgiveness than like for permission. Then we put it up, and it's been amazing. I actually saw like one of our, like the first hate week maybe it was the second one. It was hate week, and it was like the thumbnails I used to make. It's so cool to see how far it's come, because Noah, this is his second season with us. He makes the thumbnails so amazing. And if you're listening right now, the YouTube visuals, it's funny because you see us like interacting, our faces, our reactions. I
also, now this is going to backfire on me, I'm sure, but I've made a promise to myself and to the YouTube viewers that I will mix it up with the YouTube comments this year.
No, don't go in the YouTube comments.
Okay, never mind. Jack told me no, never mind.
Are we done with the self-congratulations hour?
It wasn't self. I was thanking our team. But yes, let's talk about the games.
Don't go on the YouTube. It's just, there's nothing good going on there.
All right. So we're going to do categories this year for the games. Instead of just going down the list and saying this game, this game, this game, this game. We might do that in a minute. But right now, we're going to do some categories, okay?
Okay.
And category number 1. If you could watch only one game this weekend. And I almost feel like this particular weekend, I have to just set one game aside, right? Like, I feel like LSU and Florida State, far and away the game of the weekend. And there's not really, it was one of the most amazing games last year. So almost don't worry about that one.
Okay, because that goes back to what I was saying, is that this weekend outside of that game is kind of iffy.
So outside of LSU, Florida State, which is primetime Sunday night, if you could only watch one game this weekend, and don't say your team's game, what are you watching? Well, Katie, I think you can, because
I was going to say, if Katie can't say North Carolina, outside of LSU, Florida State, I would watch North Carolina, South Carolina. North Carolina is ranked 21.
South Carolina is like 27.
South Carolina is not ranked but close. I am so interested to see what Spencer Rattler rolls out there to start this season, and they're not playing some cupcake like a lot of other teams are, to where he could have great stats, 1 million touchdowns, and be like, oh, Spencer Rattler's back. If he can play a game against that North Carolina defense that we know has had a lot of struggles, and we'll see how much better they get, but if he can have a game like he had at the end of the season last year, South Carolina's trajectory and storyline is going to be outstanding. And then on the flip side, Drake May as well, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, unfortunately has a shitty defense on the other side. But then when you look at the ACC, if they can come out and, say they beat handily an SEC team, then North Carolina's storyline going into week 2 is going to be big. So that game, and to mention it's the Carolinas. So, and it's a primetime game on Saturday night. That would be easily my answer.
Jack?
Florida, Utah. I think it will be a great environment. It's a great way to start off the season. It's a Thursday, so I guess I can't watch any more games for the rest of the week. But
well, you can watch Florida State LSU. Don't forget.
Okay. Thursday and Sunday. It's NFL, baby. But no, the game's so interesting to me. I think Florida's a team that could really have a great season. Utah, can they get over this hurdle without Cam Rising? If so, and they look good doing it, then it's like, hey, Utah's really, really, as we know, really in the mix. And then on top of it, we see Graham Mertz. I think it's going to be a great environment. Those teams typically don't go up against each other. Obviously, they played last year, but
right.
Florida going, an SEC school going to the Pacific Northwest. Would you say Northwest?
No, not even. No. What do you?
It's like
the Four Corners region. I don't know. It's definitely not Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, sorry.
How about out west?
Out west. Like SEC schools like Florida going out west doesn't happen that often, and it's an on-campus game. It's an on-site. It's not a neutral site. Why wouldn't it be
Northwest?
Because
Pacific Northwest is Washington and Oregon.
Oregon and I put Utah
so it's west.
higher. I put Utah higher north.
I just did too in my head. I apologize.
Utah's 3 states in.
No. You're right. That's why I caught myself.
It's out west though.
It is
also,
absolutely out
oh my God,
west.
I almost had a college football Twitter conniption last night. I posted the clip saying, "Oh, I'm picking Clemson to win," and then I said, "There's going to be a new rivalry between Dabo and Kirby," and like a few Clemson fans.
I saw it.
Yeah,
I saw it.
Were getting mad at me. They were like, "Hey, Bozo, do you not know ball? Like Clemson and Georgia have had a rivalry for a while." I said, "What did I say in the clip?"
The Dabo and Kirby.
Yes, I was like, "Are they rivals right now?"
You said this a couple weeks ago. The don't know or know ball thing is
it's over.
Well, now
it's over.
Clemson
it's
fans,
awful.
Clemson fans now are saying, "I know ball." Like I'm going down to Clemson this year. Like I'm just a ball knower down in South Carolina.
Even when I get
I'm a ball knower in Missouri this year.
You are.
They love that clip. You run Missouri Twitter right now.
I'm a ball knower in Missouri. I'm a ball knower at Penn State.
You know what fan base I'm a ball knower of that I never have anticipated was Auburn. Auburn was like
you ball knower at Auburn?
Well, Auburn fans.
You said in the clip,
I said I was like, I think that you downplay them because Hugh Freeze is their head coach, and like that, and we talked about
a lot of ball knowers in his phone.
What a dunk!
I will say though, maybe just one season. I'm not saying this year. We should just. I mean, I get why there's the college football analysts out there that just only compliment schools, because then you just are like the ultimate ball knower and people just love you.
Oh yeah, if you talk bad about the team, you could go down every single offensive play call they have. You could break down their defensive scheme on every snap, but if you don't like their team, you don't know ball. Katie, what's your game?
Correct.
I like the ones that are there, but I was kind of tempted to do Northwestern Rutgers just strictly for a sicko committee, but I'm going to go Buffalo, Wisconsin.
Ugh.
I'm interested to see what Wisconsin's offense looks like.
Hey.
Like it's a big step down. I'm going to say it's LSU, Florida State, big gap, UNC, South Carolina, Florida, Utah, massive gap, 100%. I'm just interested to see what
it's your game.
You know what this is proof.
UNC, yes, but to choose another one.
I meant like it's proof. Your game. Like,
I'm interested.
You're making the decision. Hey.
Proof positive that Katie is such a stats nerd in the best way possible. She's a ball knower. She's not worried about like the flashiness and worried about like the marquee headlines. Like she just wants to watch Wisconsin's offense.
I'm curious to see. Like Wisconsin's one of my questions coming into this season. Like I've said it before. Will the new offense
Katie
stick?
stats?
I've
name
lost
is
my
true.
touch. I have no stats for this week. No picks.
First of all, Casey, I was
Yes.
kind of surprised you didn't pick TCU Colorado.
Yeah, but you know what? Speaking of, I don't know ball. I've realized that one of the things, and we all do it, by the way, and not just us four, anybody who talks about football, anybody who covers sports in general, you have your like go-to storylines that you act like. I really am excited to watch TCU Colorado, and obviously not just like my friendship with Dion, but just all those other things. But it's like I have to force myself to not go to those immediate answers. That's what that's another thing I'm working on this year. Is
don't
like
give in to them.
Don't give in to them.
No, fuck that. Why give in to them? Who cares? They still tune in.
Good point. Come and take it, right, Jack?
Yeah, come and like fuck them. No,
Did you?
like if you wanted, like it's your game. Like sorry guys.
But I also will say that another reason I didn't pick that game outside of that was that I do think Colorado is going to be better than people are giving them credit for. That game could also get out of hand by 12-15.
So I'm also going to say Utah, Florida. One aspect here is a phenomenal uniform matchup. It's going to be beautiful on HD TV with all the reds at Utah and the Florida uniforms, and it's just going to look phenomenal. It's going to be like 7 o'clock. It's going to be 6 o'clock. It's going to be 6 o'clock out there, and it'll get dark there in the middle of it. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. You'll get a sunset. It's going to be amazing. That's probably mine, but UNC South Carolina is up there. Washington Boise State's another one that we haven't mentioned.
That I think field looks great at night. The Utah field looks great at night.
The Utah field, I think, looks sharper than any other field at night.
Yes, there's something about maybe it's the turf. Maybe it's just like and
hazy.
You know how
they're all red uniforms look so red.
Yeah,
so red.
The lights somehow. It's just. Yeah, it's Utah's night. We should. This would be off season, and thank God the off season's over.
Who has the best days and who has the best nights?
Yeah, who looks the best? Like what's the best looking TV atmosphere for a college football game?
Obviously, the Rose Bowl.
No, dude, no. Nobody cares about the Rose Bowl.
We're not doing that.
It ruins college football. Like we wouldn't do conference realignment right now if it wasn't for the Rose Bowl.
Fine.
Rose Bowl sucks.
Fine, but you're also talking. Yeah, Texas. No, the Longhorn Network, Jack. Never forget.
Oh, yeah,
it's the Longhorn
LHN.
Network that ruined college football. If you're talking about best looking atmospheres, you cannot tell me that when the sun is setting at the Rose Bowl, it's not the best. Brandon, call back to, I think it was 2019. Wasn't Utah, the home environment at Utah, especially at night, wasn't that the start of the tough versus tricky environment?
Tricky or tough, yeah.
Yeah, the tricky or tough, because it's like you don't know what, like the Utah team could be garbage, but going to play there is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Next category.
Right. What will be the most competitive game? If there's a 4 overtime game sitting out there this weekend, and we look back and it's the most fun game to watch, what do you think that is? And I'll start with Katie Stats this time.
Is all the games on the table?
Yeah, are we back to all the games?
Yeah.
Well, you took one off the table for the first category.
Yeah, no, everything's on the table here.
I chalk, but I think LSU, Florida State. I think I agree. But the one reason I'm still gonna pick it, the reason, do you see? So LSU was trying to schedule a week 0 game.
Yeah, that was awesome.
They're doing, who was it? Mason Smith was it?
Mason Smith, yeah.
Because he's not playing. Is one player, not again with your quarterback, it's such a big deal to your team that you're going to put your entire roster through game prep for a week 0 to avoid one person being suspended?
They would have played like Nicholls State, like they wouldn't have been a game prep.
But still, there would have been enough like.
I see what you're saying. There's a chance someone gets hurt.
Messing up the rhythm for someone else. That worries me. Why does it matter that much for one defensive player? But regardless of that, I still think Florida State, LSU, and I still like Florida State to win it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously you look at the game last year and how exciting that was, but just looking at this quarterback matchup, Jaden Daniels and
Jordan
Travis. Why?
Martial athlete.
Totally had a blonde moment. The quarterbacks, the defensive players, like I mentioned earlier, I think that this could be really close. If I can't pick that game, because I assumed that one was going to be off the table as well, because, I mean, it's a top 10 matchup, so of course, just on paper, it looks like that. I think that Utah-Florida could be one of the most competitive ones, especially now without Cam Rising and for all the other reasons. But I think, if we're really being honest, that Sunday game is going to be the most competitive.
Jack?
All right. I'll just go with North Carolina, South Carolina. I think there's a chance with how bad those two defenses are projected to be. Maybe they take steps forward, but the offenses are electric. I'll roll with them. And then there was one that is possible to have a great one. It's UTSA Houston.
I have that one written down too.
No.
What the fuck did you have to take two?
No, he just spit. You want to talk about a good YouTube moment?
What the fuck
Brandon
did you have
just
to take
spit
two?
like Jack Dawson on the Titanic.
Oh, no.
You motherfucker.
I have it written down right here. You
No.
You didn't say it.
No, I didn't say it. You're
As
right.
Eyes
I
are
was saying the
pop.
second one, I was thinking to myself,
He might
oh,
take
no,
his-
he may have it. And then I was just
UTSA
like, I'm
Houston
still gonna
is a
say
big
it.
one.
And then
I was going to have such a good,
That's
because
what
y'all
makes-
all went chalk, and I was like, well, I'm going to go off the beaten path here. And I'm going to go, this opened last year, and it was an incredible game. I think 37-35. Houston's going to the Big 12. They got their eyes set on Oklahoma in a couple of weeks coming in to open that up. UTSA still has Frank Harris. They're still good. This could be like a 45-44 game down in Houston. It could be fireworks city, new quarterback in Houston, but they're excited about the Big 12 move. And that's what I would have said, but Jack had to say 2 fucking games.
So I also added in the group text a category of like what's the most under the radar game that I'm most excited about, and that's where I have UTSA Houston for my actual answers. But that game is, and that's a gambler's dream, by the way. That game is going to be awesome to gamble on. But Brandon, would you like me to ask you again and just wipe the slate clean so you can give your answer?
No, but I'm not going last no more. I can tell you that shit.
Okay,
All right,
so we
what
all gave our
team
answers.
What team is on upset alert this weekend?
So before the podcast,
I'm going first.
No, I know, but I wanted to have this conversation because we started arguing about it pre-podcast, and this is actually something that I believe it was last summer whenever we did like upsets, and I had people in my mentions like, oh, you clearly don't know what an upset is. There's a difference in a gambling upset and a ranked upset, and we all were giving different answers. Brandon, what do you consider an upset?
An upset is based on rankings.
That's the way I feel too.
I disagree.
It's based on rankings. Often like the number 19 team could be playing an unranked team, and they're an underdog by 7 points. And in that case, it's probably not an upset. But in the cases of the games we're talking about this week, like South Carolina beating North Carolina would be an upset. They're 2.5 point dogs, and North Carolina's number 21 and South Carolina's number 27. That would be an upset.
So to me, it's like I look at the rankings first. Now, obviously, if somehow the higher ranked team is plus money, then that's not an upset. But just because it's 2.5,
I almost think that regardless of the point spread, if a ranked team loses to an unranked team ever, it's an upset. By definition of the way we rank teams in this country, it's an upset.
That's the way that I feel. The gambling stuff does kind of muddy the waters a little bit, but if South Carolina beats North Carolina, that's an upset.
I disagree.
You don't think that's an upset, Katie?
Neither of them do.
I disagree. I think at least has to be 7 points, to even open the door.
I think
to an
it's
upset.
10. Like 10.
See,
it's an unranked team beating the number 21 team.
I don't give
27.
I'm going to be honest. Like, if somebody asks me about the rankings, I do not care. We do not care.
But that's
We do
where
not
the
care.
term upset came from, is a ranked team getting beat by someone ranked lower than them. That's where it came from.
if a 15 plays a 3 and the 3 loses to the 15, that is an upset.
What was the spread?
Yeah,
Even
what's
if
the
it was
spread?
3, it doesn't matter.
I think if it's
All right.
single digit, it is not an upset.
I hate this argument. Okay.
All right, then we'll just let it go.
Okay.
But it is.
Congrats,
You know what we're not going to let go?
What are we not
Ooh.
going to let go?
I'm going to tell you right now, we are not going to let go of Rocket Money.
Well,
We sure aren't. Rocket money, baby.
Rocket
So-
Money.
Derek Carabas money.
I
Are your
am-
subscriptions draining your wallet?
can I tell you, this is a true story. And I feel like sometimes when we do ads and it's like use a personal endorsement and
No, we
none of us
never
are-
lie on those.
We never lie on those. I'm definitely not lying about this one. I had a subscription, a low-key subscription that was like $14 a month.
OnlyFans. This
It
fits
was definitely
directly
OnlyFans.
into the OnlyFans.
Yeah, I was-
$14 a month.
Yeah.
And you forgot about it. Oh,
Is
nice.
OnlyFans really $14 a month?
No, it depends on the
Oh,
creator.
okay. Well, I'm not going to say which subscription I was getting rid of because I don't want to like
No.
the reverse of free ads, but it was a subscription that I am definitely not using. And I don't think I was ever using it, but somehow I've been paying for it for like 9 months now. And I went on there and Rocket Money sent me a notification, was like, hey, we've noticed that you're, this is there and like you don't ever interact with it. Would you like us to cancel it? And here I'm thinking, oh, I've got to go on there and then like they're going to send me to the actual app and I'm going to have to deal with it. It's a button that just says cancel subscription. And then Rocket sent me a notification. It was like, we're on it. We'll cancel it. 24 hours later, no longer paying for it. And it was just like, oh my God, this app actually does exactly what it says it's going to do. And it also tracks all your spending all month. And so like I'm able to put it in categories. So not only does it get rid of your subscriptions for you, it also tells you like, hey, by the way, you're spending X amount more in this category this month than you did last month or less.
So it's going to tell me that I spent $2,600 a month on Chick-fil-A.
Yes, it will.
Yeah,
I'm not exaggerating. It will literally say that. It'll put it in like food and dining or whatever. And then if you click on it, it'll show like, hey man, this is happening. And sometimes it'll question stuff too, which is great. Like I'll get like, hey, we noticed a large amount that's not normal, or we noticed a new subscription. Do you want us to check on that? And 9 times out of 10, I'm like, no, I actually did that. I just felt like spending more money today.
Yeah.
But the fact that it even does that, and it's like a free, it's a free app. It's not even making you pay money for it.
Yes, no, and that's what you do when you download Rocket Money.
You
Stop wasting your money on things that you do not use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/rough.
Rough.
Yep,
Rough.
rough. That's rocketmoney.com/rough. rocketmoney.com/rough.
It's great.
All right.
Rough.
Cancel your unwanted subscriptions today.
Okay. Who is on upset alert? I'm going first.
Okay.
Jack, do you want to say 9 games real quick before I go?
No, go ahead.
I have the Tulane Green Wave. They enter the season ranked for the first time in a long time. They had a magical season last year, which included winning at Kansas State and beating USC in the Cotton Bowl. Phenomenal victory for them, a career highlight, a program highlight. But now they come in as the hunted and not the hunter, and they're playing a South Alabama team that is really good. They've got talent. They're pretty good. It opened at 7.5. It's now at 6.5. But Tulane is number 24 team in the country. They got Ole Miss in a couple of weeks. They got some big games on the schedule, and it would be bad if they were to open the season losing to South Alabama after beating USC and Kansas State last year. They bring the quarterback back, Michael Pratt, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, but they lost a lot elsewhere. So I think Tulane needs to have their guard up as they play South Alabama this weekend.
I'll just go and get mine over with. We've talked about this game a million times already, and I believe it is an upset. I think North Carolina's on upset alert. I think if Spencer Rattler comes out, does what he needs to do, and they lose that game, I think that North Carolina fans would be not happy and shocked.
I'm fully expecting Spencer Rattler, who played versus Tennessee and Clemson, to come out. If he comes out, hope you don't have the under. If he doesn't, then I think there's a fighting chance.
But that's my upset alert, regardless of if you guys think it's an upset or not.
I'm higher on this team than most, but I don't feel great about them heading into week 1. I do think Coastal Carolina can give UCLA some fits on Saturday night.
That's a good one.
And I do think that could be possibly, especially new quarterback. Chip Kelly finds ways to lose games he shouldn't. I definitely see that could be,
and not just replacing DTR, but also Zach Charbonnet too. Yeah. Like all that production.
Yeah. It also feels like UCLA is forever in like a 31-31 tie with a overmatched team in week 1 or 2.
Yes, and I think like last year's Bowling Green, even though Bowling Green wasn't great, years before it comes down to a field goal late, and you're like, oh well, this happened, that happened, but I think UCLA really needs to, and obviously Grayson McCall is still on Coastal Carolina.
Katie?
I'm actually going to use your and Casey's definition of an upset to feed my agenda. I'm going to do Florida State over LSU.
No, they're both top 10 teams, though.
Florida State's ranked lower. See,
you're just flaunting the
what's the
argument.
What's the spread for that right now?
2.5.
Same thing as
Jinx.
UNC.
I mean, yes, it's a top 10. But she is right. Like she is right. If that
he's not though. Yeah, South Carolina's unranked and USC's ranked.
You said but lesser ranked.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't agree with that.
I hate the argument. Okay.
Okay. I think Florida State's straight up over LSU.
All right.
God, I can't wait for that game.
What player are you most excited to see this weekend? I know who you're going to say.
Who?
You're going to say, yeah, I know who you're going to say. Watch me guess who you're going to say.
Can I wait? I'm writing it.
Mordecai.
No.
You didn't write Mordecai from Wisconsin?
She did not. I can, and I'm telling the absolute truth.
I have a great answer for this.
Okay, well, she's definitely not telling the truth.
I am. I swear to God. I swear on my
have
son,
a name
my
right
grown
here.
ass son. She does. She has it written right there.
All right, who you got, Jack?
I'm really interested to see Shadur Sanders.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I think he's one of the bigger questions in the country. He obviously was great at Jackson State. It's his first game, so it's not the end-all be-all, but, it's up against a team that was in the national championship last year, and I want to see how he does.
So I actually have him written down and Chandler Morris for like the same
Okay,
reason.
nice.
So that game is
That full-ass game, quarterback matchup.
that full ass game, at noon. Obviously very early in Boulder, but both of those quarterbacks. Now I understand TCU has way less question marks. They made it to the national championship last year, but Chandler Morris with Bryles, which don't even get me started, but with him, but just seeing the way that these two quarterbacks play. And I know a lot of people expect TCU to just absolutely boat race Colorado, but if Shadur Sanders comes out and you've got guys on both sides of the ball, I think they got like 50 dudes in the transfer portal. Like Shadur is going to be the headline there. So both of those quarterbacks, I'm extremely excited to watch.
There's actually a chance Shadur might not be the number one headline. It might be Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I think Brandon brought this up recently. I mean, he could take. Is he going to play wide receiver too?
Yeah, I think he's playing both.
Yeah.
That's going to be
What a
crazy because he
dude.
didn't even play both last year.
Did you see that people are mad because Dion said he didn't go to Florida State because he's still like mad at them?
Well, I did see that clip and he said that he's not a Knoll because he didn't graduate from there. He graduated from an HBCU, which I think was what? Is it Jackson?
I have no
I don't know
idea
where
he
he graduated from. But that being said, it was a clip. I mean, he's petty, and I think he deserves to be petty.
I agree.
Talladega
completely.
College.
Okay.
So I mean, Dion can claim to be from wherever he wants to. It's his life, so it doesn't bother me. If he wants to be a Knoll, let him be a Knoll. If he doesn't want to be a Knoll, he doesn't have to be. Whatever. What do you think Bobby Bowden would say?
About Dion?
Yeah, they loved each other.
Yeah, they
I
did.
think.
But I mean,
But
the way.
he got, from where it seems, he really got slighted by them.
Yeah, so, and I think that, like,
I know
obviously,
he feels he got slighted, which is the most important thing.
and well, yeah, and I think that he really did. I mean, the conversations that, like, I remember one of the first conversations that he had with Dave about it when we were going to Texas to do that show. He was like, "Oh, you're going to be back at Florida State eventually," and he was like, "No, I'm not." And it wasn't just like, it wasn't on camera, it wasn't for an act, there weren't, nothing for attention. It was just, he kind of laid out exactly what happened, and he was.
He'll be back. He'll be back there.
I think that
If
they really fucked him over with that.
No, but money changes all. I'm
But
not
he
saying.
didn't need the money.
Yes, he does. Everyone needs money.
Everyone needs money. Don't
He's
get me
not-
wrong.
he's
But
not
it's not like he's like.
He's not a Deca millionaire. It's not like he's flying. It's not like he has a yacht outside.
But-
Yeah, but if Florida State laid down and said, you know what, we fucked you, we're sorry, we wish we'd go back and do it over again, but you're our guy.
You're a
Here's the keys to
God-fearing
the
man.
kingdom. Here's the keys to the kingdom. Don't you think they give it to him? Don't you think he takes it?
I think it depends on how much bigger that paycheck is than somewhere else. Because if he does really well at Colorado, we know he's not staying at Colorado forever. And in order to get the Florida State job, he'll have to do well at Colorado, which means they're going to be
build up Colorado to a point where he may not have to leave.
well, especially because they're going back.
Yeah,
to the
you
12.
can build at Colorado too. Like, that's a
100%.
better program than it's been.
And it has great facilities and Big 12.
And Boulder's so beautiful.
But that being said, I mean, imagine him like on SC, that would be crazy. There's a chance that he becomes the biggest star college football's ever seen.
He's too big of a personality, I think. Let alone the Pac-12, even the Big 12. I think he's such more Big 10, if not SEC. SEC
Him
first, maybe Big 10.
Can you imagine if he was so mad at Florida State, he just like went to Florida?
That'd be funny.
It'd be incredible.
Okay, so does anybody else have a player?
I do. The one that I have written down, that is not
All right.
Tanner Mordecai. I'm really interested and a little scared, but I think the Brennan Armstrong, Robert Anai combination, obviously it's going to be like a Sam Hartman deal. He could look fantastic. We're not going to really know how. We're not, maybe, sorry, I'm side-eyeing Jack Mack because I remember.
Yeah,
they were
no,
playing.
I was shaking my head because he's going to throw 3 interceptions on Thursday night.
I have no idea. It could bomb. It could be great. I hope.
Bomb.
I'm just interested to see what it looks like.
I didn't know what happened there. Like I felt some tension.
I
all
don't
of a
know,
sudden.
but
I was like,
Jack's so fired up, and he's just kind of like sitting. He's like a goose sitting on a golden egg right now. He knows what he's got. He's just so fired up about UConn, but he's kind of hiding a little bit.
No, I mean, I'm scared because it's like there's actually expectations. Brennan could go in there and dice up UConn, and it could be really embarrassing. So I think it's a fine answer, but I need to, it's like,
Oh,
this
I'm
is
hoping
great.
he sucks too. If we lose to NC State, I'm I'm out.
You know when
All
there's
right, my player-
when there's like palpable like tension that you can cut. I
His
don't know if
entire
I've ever
office.
felt it be like completely empty in the room, and then all of a sudden the tension got that thick.
No.
in that moment.
Me and Kate have had much worse tension.
Oh yeah,
than
no,
that
but that was,
before.
but it
Much
was
worse.
anticipated. Oh no,
That
much
was-
worse, much worse. But that one
that
was
was like friendly, like me shaking my head.
it was just like, but the way like everybody stopped, I was like, not like real tension, but it was just
Yeah,
like
no.
it just like the tension grew very quickly. Anyways, continue.
My player is Tanner Mordecai, Wisconsin. I mean, they're changing their offense for the first time in 40 years. Of course, it's Mordecai.
okay, yeah, no.
But I mean, there's so many, right? Like Carson Beck, you want to see how he looks. You want to see how Drew Allen looks. So there's a lot of big debuts, and I guess Drew Aller's not a debut, but he's kind of a debut too.
Oh, I had some Penn State people saying, telling me like, oh, well, he played, and I think he had like 5 touchdowns or something. I'm like, guys, we're talking about garbage time. Like,
But he hasn't been the guy yet.
no, and yes, he'll be able to have the keys to the car and better weapons, whatever. But like, you can't look at a guy in garbage time and be like, see, we do know how good he is. Like that, you're playing garbage time across the board.
I don't think Penn State's on upset alert, but I do think West Virginia's. I think they might be a little better than people are giving them credit for. Like, I don't think that's going to be as comfortable as Penn State fans want it to be. Now, they could come and win 49-0, and I'm an idiot. But we'll see.
I have that game written down too for that night slate. I went through each time slot and said which games I'm excited to watch, and I have that one there. That used to be a rivalry. I mean, obviously anybody that's in this room probably. I mean, Brandon, do you remember that being a rivalry? I don't think they've played since early '90s, but like the history says they were. No one actually feels that way now.
What?
West Virginia, Penn State.
Oh yeah.
But that game, I think that'll
They're
be
so close to each other.
Yeah.
Also, aren't they a great candidate for like the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Like they both hate Pitt, or I guess West Virginia hates Pitt, and Penn State acts like they don't exist.
But
Which
Penn
is
State,
worse.
Yeah, Penn State doesn't. Yeah,
The opposite of love is not hate; it's apathy. You hear that, haters?
Pitt is such a great team this year that could really sneak up on us because no.
Yeah, they might be the third. They might be the third best team in the ACC.
And it's like, oh wait, Pitt's what? It's like Pitt is their what's their record? Because
but they've been there the last 3 years.
I know.
They've been this good.
And they have a surprisingly very big fan base, which is just annoying to me because like I remember when they played in the Big East, I just hated Pitt. Like
they do have a big fan base.
They do, and it's on Twitter. It's active. And
Mississippi State played them in the play-in game this year in NCAA basketball, and like they came at me in droves.
Yep.
Like I never even said anything about them. I was just rooting for my team. And then they beat us because we missed a shot. They didn't do anything to beat us. All right, under the radar game this weekend.
I already said mine. It's UTSA Houston.
Jack.
I like Fresno State against Purdue.
Katie.
I don't really have one. I think they're all really. It's a very sharp drop off, but I think I'm going to go back to Wisconsin, Buffalo.
I don't know how under the radar it is, but neither one of them are ranked. I got Coastal Carolina, UCLA. Like Jack's right. Coastal could go give them fits.
Mm-hmm.
They got a quarterback that's been there forever. UCLA's in kind of a transition year, but they're talented. I don't know how fired up the UCLA fan base. Like I can't see it being sold out and frothing at the mouth for Coastal Carolina. So probably going to be an indifferent crowd. I can see Coastal and UCLA being a hell of a football game.
And you know those Coastal guys. I mean, whenever they get to play a Power 5 team, like those are all guys that feel slighted that they weren't recruited by them. Those games are personal for them. I mean, obviously they try their best all the time, but those are special games for them 100%.
I wonder what it'll look like different because it's Tim Beck now. Chadwell's at Liberty. Like, are they going to have that same like piss teal mentality, the mullets, or is it going to be a new regime?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we'll see. How else do you want to do this? I think we previewed ample, but obviously so many teams, like most of the SEC is playing garbage, and most of the Big Ten is playing garbage. So not a whole lot here. Like Ohio State's playing Indiana, they'll win by 40.
I think Minnesota and Nebraska is a
Nebraska. Okay, so I wrote down 3 under the radar games. Nebraska, Minnesota was one of the other ones, and the third one was. Frankly, and this is a team that you're high on with Mr. Show. Texas Tech at Wyoming is that's a dangerous little trip right there.
And so playing at Wyoming is truly one of the hardest things to do because their elevation up there is like you feel it. I've been to Jackson Hole.
It's the highest field in the country.
Yes, and you would probably think that's Air Force or something. No, it is Wyoming. And I remember who was the team that Wyoming they played. Mizzou. Remember, Mizzou was supposed to start their season like 10-0, and they went and played Wyoming. Kelly Bryant's here, and they lost that first game. And so that's a great game. And another
Kelly Bryant, I forgot about how big
another one on Friday night. I'm really excited for this one. Louisville, Georgia Tech. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to take that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, that's huge. But I also
Is there anybody that thinks Duke can give Clemson a problem?
So
yes, 100%.
I didn't know if we were talking about that or not because I know we're doing we're doing 2 more episodes before that game actually kicks off. So, which is crazy to think. That game's on Monday night, so we'll have an episode Saturday night and then an episode Monday.
Oh yeah, we're recording Monday.
So I didn't.
That's Labor Day.
Yeah, but we gotta.
I didn't think about that. All right, we'll talk about it later.
As earlier,
guys, this is our group chat. This is our group chat.
As early, we've already talked about it, and like the earlier conversation is like Labor Day is not a holiday; it's like college football, like that.
Labor Day, I got to be out on the boat on Labor Day. I don't know what y'all doing. I got to be out on the boat
working.
No, another sneaky games. Not even sneaky, but actually, I'm like I do like
Boise
North
State,
Texas.
Washington is another one. I know
we should go
earlier,
like
but...
Florida State, Florida, Utah, like. Is everything?
Wait, who's
Florida?
North Texas playing? North Texas is playing somebody that
Cal.
They're creeping. Yeah, they're creeping up on them. It was 7.5 now.
Yeah, I really like North Texas in that game. The line movement, they've gotten below a touchdown now. I like North Texas in that game. Cal's gonna. I really also like Hawaii Stanford at 11 p.m. on Friday night. I think
by the time that kicks off, Hawaii might be a favorite.
Yeah, which is Stanford could really be bad. I'm trying to look.
There's so many like Texas State, Baylor, who cares?
But
that's not a terrible.
Well, for Virginia Tech, Old Dominion's beaten them, what, 2 years in a row?
We did it last year. We should do it for the big games. So Florida, Utah. Is everyone on Florida then? Is it? Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like just like straight up. Just
okay. Straight up.
Yeah, no,
Florida, Utah.
I would love to pick Utah because I've been down on Florida so much, but I think the drop off from Rising to their backup is significant, and I think Florida wins that game.
I think Florida wins it because Cam Rising is out. Yes.
I'm gonna stick with Utah.
Jack.
Florida.
Okay. Next one.
Nebraska, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I think that Rule is the right guy to turn Nebraska around, but he doesn't do it right now. I don't think he has the dudes. And Minnesota's a sneaky team this year. I think Minnesota handles business.
I agree.
Louisville at Georgia Tech. Atlanta.
Louisville. High on Jeff Brom.
Georgia Tech's in Atlanta.
Not at home. Not at Georgia Tech. It's a pseudo.
Is it not?
Game. No, it's Mercedes-Benz.
It's in the Dome?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is a mile from their campus or 2 miles from their campus.
Yeah, pseudo home.
Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville too. Louisville probably, but this is a dangerous ass spot because Louisville has a lot of hope this year with a first-year coach and a lot of transfers. And Georgia Tech beat a couple good teams last year. They took the interim tag off. Like I almost see like a coin flip game right there where Georgia Tech covers the number and maybe Louisville wins, but they're assuming everybody they brought in is going to make them good. But you don't know that. Georgia Tech could stun them to come out.
They could, but the number I think is 7.5.
Yeah, like if Louisville were ranked, I would put them on upset alert.
Yep, 7.5.
Yeah, I'm taking Louisville for that.
All right, continue.
Louisville.
UTSA at Houston.
UTSA.
I think I'll go Houston there. UTSA quarterback's back, but too much excitement around Houston right now. We're going to the Big 12 and all that. I don't think Dana lets them lose this first game.
I just like Frank Harris so much. I agree with you.
Frank Harris, by the way, got to be. He's on the
because
Tanner Morgan plan, right?
He's
on
like
the
29 years old.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam Hartman's on that one too. My mom, my mom doesn't really watch college football. She listens, which is like, thanks. I love my mom, of course. But she was actually in the room with me during Notre Dame Navy, a little part of it. She was like, "Wait, how is he? he's been in college for how long? And I was like, yeah, he's been there for a while. Like, he was in college when I was in college. And she was like, how is he still playing? And then I was like, I said, oh, well, COVID, injury, whatnot. And I think my dad, too, was like, wait, that doesn't make sense.
And he also just like looks way older than everybody. Okay, next one.
North Carolina, South Carolina.
I'm going to go against the trend. I think you guys are all in one. Well, maybe not Katie because she's a Tar Heel, but I think North Carolina. Listen, they got the better quarterback, and for most of the season last year, Spencer Rattler stunk, and the team stunk. So I got North Carolina.
I know that this is the biggest cop out ever, but it's like which Spencer Rattler shows up. But if I have to put my nuts on the table right now, I'm going South Carolina. I think Spencer Rattler becomes the guy again that he finished the season, not that he started last season.
Yeah, I have to go UNC. I'm gonna be scared.
Yeah, I keep going back and forth, but I think North Carolina takes care of business. And it's a close game, but yeah.
Old Dominion, Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
VT.
Not two of the Virginia Tech might be one of the worst Power 5 teams in the country. Don't ever mention them again.
Northwestern, Rutgers.
Rutgers.
Okay, now you're just doubling down on it.
Yeah,
okay.
but that game's like a horrible.
It's on
game.
CBS.
Rutgers. Northwestern's been through some shit.
Yeah,
Not. Northwestern has a point to prove. They're playing for Pat Fitzgerald. They're gonna take down Rutgers, and it's gonna be the funniest fucking thing of all time.
Oh,
it's gonna be
so
funny.
That was my upset.
And I'm going to be. I may go down the Piscataway myself, and to the 20,000 people that there's gonna be more people at the UConn game this weekend than the Rutgers Northwestern game. Believe that.
Go off, Kim.
God did.
Last one. LSU, Florida State.
Boy, this one's tough for me.
I think LSU takes care of business. It's a great game, though.
I'm so high on Florida State and Jordan Travis, but I also don't think LSU's near as bad as people like Brandon think. But
they're number 5 team in the country.
No, I'm saying you don't think LSU's anywhere near the.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody else thinks they're bad. I just think I don't think they're bad. I think they're overrated. I think instead of number 5, they should be like number 12.
I'm going to take Florida State. I like LSU though, so I hope that game is good, but I'm going to take Florida State.
Florida State as well.
Yeah.
All right,
I do think Jordan Travis.
I'm LSU, but
Jordan Travis is a better quarterback, but Jane Daniels is also very good.
I'm so excited. That game is like, okay, we're
back.
It's big time. It's like
that was the we're back game last year when that Sunday night. It was just an incredible. Twitter experienced it together. It was one of them games.
Yeah,
it'll be one of them games again.
I didn't. Brian Kelly said something in the halftime.
Favor of execution?
No, that was Notre Dame against Florida State the year before. He said something before the LSU Florida State game last year or at halftime that I remember we tweeted out, and I was like, that doesn't sound good. He was like, the guys still don't even. He was like, the guys don't really know the playbook.
Yeah, you want to talk about a guy that got granted, he's fairly clowned a lot. He did once kill a kid, but
we're gonna get sued for that one of these days.
He did get so unfairly clowned after that game. Brandon, who are you taking to win that game?
Florida State.
All right.
I think it was we can't play worse than that. I don't think.
That's maybe it was that.
Like I'm not sure we can play worse.
Yeah, he got a lot.
Well, that doesn't sound that bad.
Then maybe I'm just misremembering.
No. In the moment, I remember what Jack's talking about. In the moment, because there was.
What was that?
I don't know. I was just doing a fit.
Because remember, all off season 2, he was doing all the cheesy like bullshit with all the players.
I'm gonna find what he said because I remember I put up on the main account and it did really well because people were just mad at him.
What else do we have? I need to go home and pack for a flight.
Arik Gilbert.
It's sad, but it's like
it's sad, but it's one of the all time stories that you don't have to always get excited in recruiting, right? Like sometimes guys just aren't put together the right way for college football, and I don't know that he ever really wanted college football. Like one of the biggest mega recruits ever, and just it never worked out for him, and it's over now, and hopefully he gets the help he needs.
Yeah, I mean, $1,600, all that for $1,600 from a vape store is brutal. Like that's some like drug addict shit, man. I
remember 2 years ago, Georgia fans thought they had the best tight end room in the country.
Well, they did
they did, but not for the reason they thought.
Yes.
They thought it was because they had added Arik Gilbert, but actually they had a freshman named Brock Bowers.
I will say that it is one of those like, oh yeah, we have 2 tight ends coming this year. The other guy's pretty good, but you got to check out this Gilbert. It was sad. I was watching his his high school highlights, and I mean, he just looks like a man out there, and it's like, oh, this guy really should have been. And then he was smiling in the camera, and it hit me. I was like, wait, this was 3 years ago when he was playing high school football, and it all went to shit for him. I mean, hopefully he's still young enough where he can kind of figure it all out, but like, hopefully this is the wake up call, because before it was just he didn't get along with, or he didn't fit into a program. But this is that's the sad part. But he's had so many chances.
Yeah,
probably.
Hopefully he gets the help he needs.
All right, Casey has to go get on a plane, and I have to charge my phone. So,
important.
The college football show is the Barstool College Football Show will be out at 10 a.m. Eastern this weekend.
Yes,
we're recording that tomorrow, and then we'll announce. I don't know if we're announcing our whole schedule like we did last year.
Yeah,
we are.
So obviously we've all talked about that we're, hinting at where we're going to be in week 2. We'll be in Tuscaloosa, but the rest of the season will be unveiled at the end of that episode.
All I'm saying is Mississippi State's an hour away, and there's a night game that night. So if y'all look up and I've disappeared, whatever.
I have a question for you. Did you ever answer anybody about the bus?
What bus?
Okay, never mind.
Fair enough.
Nobody asked me about the bus.
That is not true. I was on a text message where they ask you about the bus. So
what bus?
The college football bus.
Text me right after this and tell me what you're talking about.
Oh, I'll just go ahead and tell you right now. I don't care. So they asked if anybody wanted a new picture for the bus, and
oh yeah, and I've always got that old picture.
Well, and I told the team, I was like, make sure that Brandon gets a new picture, and they said, well, we'll just ask him which one he wants, and I knew you never answered, so I was like, well, he's gonna have that 2019 asshole buzz cut on there.
They never asked me, so
yes, they
whatever.
did. Yes, they did.
No, after you said that, they never asked me individually.
I'm in a group text where they did, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
You just said ask him, but they never came to me and asked after that. I don't read the group text.
That's there was a text with me, you, and Big Ev, and the graphics were sent, and it was like, at Brandon, are you okay with this photo?
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. All right.
Anyways.
Okay.
It's not personal.
So
yeah,
that's unnecessary roughness.